Welcome to Discuss With Us podcast, where we are unpacking the world through a Christian lens. I am your host, Darcy Durkowski, along with my husband, Brian, and our intention is to pose topics, trending and otherwise, and unpack them with the help of some research, insights from our different backgrounds, and even some listener input in a way that is thought-provoking and entertaining. So get comfortable, grab your favorite beverage, and discuss with us.
Welcome back to another episode of Discuss With Us. Darce, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to finally get to our listener's choice topic.
Yes, we are finally here. Which also means we finally made our break.
Yes.
Long time coming.
Yes, for sure. This will be our 25th episode.
I know, which I thought we do this every week, so I was like, is it 25 or 26?
I think it's 25.
No, if it's 26, it was going to mean we did it half of a year.
Oh. Almost.
So maybe
I think we can count it.
It's a long time.
Yeah. And we've been consistent up until like this past month, and I think summer got us. I do feel like we're in the part of summer where I am more on the surviving side and not thriving.
We've never had the kids at home the way we have them, with three especially.
Well, yeah. The three of them makes a difference.
Just kind of no structure. The only thing keeping structure alive in our house is work.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And it's been fun. Like, I really have enjoyed
nice.
it. I think what has kind of made it difficult these past few weeks is the heat finally is like to the point where it is hard to want to take them outside.
Well,
and it doesn't last as long.
It's been raining also. You haven't really taken them outside all summer, so
yeah, that's true.
It feels like it's rained
but
almost every day.
We did before. Like, we would hang out more on the concrete, I guess, for that. But they have plenty to do on the concrete, and they would be fine. But now it's just, like, I took them outside today, but it is just hot.
Yeah, now it's just freaky because we haven't had all of the structure we're used to, and school's about to start. It's like, oh my God, we got to figure this out.
Yeah. So that should be interesting. But that's why we're going to take this break. I feel like we're not the only ones in this boat. Give us a little chance to get our lives together, get ready for school, get a new routine in place.
Not together, but maybe just better.
Just better, at least. Get a little structure back in our lives, and then we'll pick this back up.
Yes.
And I figure everybody out there is probably, even if you don't have kids starting school, you're probably in a little bit of a shift coming.
If you aren't 25 episodes deep, now you'll have time to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
what won? I don't even know what won this listener thing. I haven't been on social media.
Oh, okay. So, let me enlighten you. You know what won. Okay, so listener's choice. This was really fun. We got a lot of good topics suggested, and I narrowed it down to 8. And so I'm going to go through all of them. So,
nice.
Because I do think that we'll get to most of these at some point in the near future after our break, obviously.
That was part of the point of doing this.
Yeah, see what you guys want to hear about. So, first up, we had communication with your spouse, how to holiday with family. I thought that one was a funny one. Yeah. Father Alvarado interview, which he's one of the priests at St. Mary's.
Oh, yeah.
Tara Royer Steele interview. Definitely want to have her because there was a lot of interest in that one as well. Mm-hmm. Decluttering and organization tips.
Yeah, we need to listen to someone do that.
I know. Maybe we need to bring in an expert. Advice for your younger self. Spoiler alert. That's what we're talking about today. Bible story deep dive. I have one lined up for that. You've said it before, too. We'll get to that one. And then on raising boys. There was a lot of interest in that one, too. I was surprised.
Nice.
Yeah. So our winner after a couple of rounds was
Why wasn't there an MLB trade deadline one?
oh well, we don't have time for that. This is only
Thought we were
like
supposed
an
to do what
hour
we're talking
long.
about. Just change it up. I call that one winning.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all a little upset. That one is timely. I think that would resonate with lots of people.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so the winner was advice for your younger self, which I think is a really fun topic.
Oh God.
Although, I don't know, getting into this, it was more difficult than I thought to come up with something that wasn't, like you said last night,
Generic?
like very generic or something you just see in a meme somewhere or like some kind of Instagram post.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about like a Stitch pillow.
Nobody's going to follow what you're saying there. Brian said last night he was trying to think of something that somebody hadn't like cross-stitched and framed and put in their house. Like, I don't know.
Hanging on the wall in their bathroom or something.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a little, I will admit, it was a little more difficult to come up with some that we would want to share on here. But I do think that well, I don't even know what yours are. And I don't know if you know what all mine are, but we wrote some down. First, though, I did do a comment box on Instagram.
Okay.
And we had some, because, it's always fun to get
Maybe I'll get some here. What we're
yeah, listener input on these. So one of them was hindsight is 2020. Whenever we didn't get the job or house that we thought was perfect at the time, it turned out that God had a better plan. So I think you hear people say that, but it's so hard to have that perspective in the time at the time. So hindsight 2020. Another one was
so everyone can say.
Yeah, I know, right? Don't settle for subpar treatment in relationships. Your worth isn't in a boy or girl or any kind of relationship.
Oh man. Yep.
I know. Yeah. Can I get an amen? And then this one's fun. Find a sport that you like and learn how to play. So here, I have a question.
That is a good one.
Is there a sport that like you wish you would have learned to play that you didn't? Sport, or I guess it could be something else, but like a skill.
I would say you're never good enough at golf. I wish I'd played golf earlier.
It's a good one.
And maybe gotten better at it. But other than that, I'm not great at any of them, but I've already played
Most of them.
most sports. Anything with a ball.
I always wish that that I had maybe played soccer growing up. But I think that's mainly because all the people that
gross. It's just too much running.
all the people that play soccer had good legs, so I think that's where I got that. But I remember my parents just being like, "No, those tournaments are on Saturday mornings, rain, sleet, snow."
If you could tell me that if I had kicked a football every day, I'd be in the NFL doing it, then I'd say that. But I mean,
that is a good one.
If I chose to be like a kicker or something and been really good at it, yeah, that'd be easy. But I don't think that would have been in the cards anyway. So same with golf. I mean,
Other
I'd
skill?
be better at it, but not.
I know as far as like skills go, not necessarily sports, obviously, but a skill I wish I had learned is piano. I wish I was more proficient on the piano.
Yeah, everyone does.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Anything else for you?
On that,
Yeah. I'm just curious. It's a fun thought.
no.
Okay. Okay, and then another one was pay God first and then yourself. Start saving early.
I almost put that on mine.
Oh, to like kind of get what? Start saving early or both?
But mainly as tithing.
Yeah.
For younger self, but I didn't go with that. That's a good one.
Point. Okay. Okay, so do we dive right into ours?
Yeah, you dive into yours.
You want me to go first? Okay. So I tried to break this out into some advice that was practical, and then some that was more spiritual, and then just some that I would file under general.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that was difficult about this is I was trying not to just think of like things that I regret or, and it doesn't have to be something that you didn't do. Maybe something did work out and you just wish you would have done it earlier or would want to make sure. Like, I don't know. I was trying to keep an open mind about how, like, advice for your younger self.
Right.
But here we go. Okay. So, first of all, the funny thought that I had when I was watching this topic was my first piece of advice would be the type of person who listens to advice.
Yeah, you're not.
I wouldn't say I'm not now. Maybe I do now. Maybe some. But
some.
definitely I don't feel like I did as a younger adult. And I was picturing myself, trying to give myself advice for like late teens, early 20 years.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that was the other hard part of this was like, what past self are you talking to?
But yeah, I always thought, like, even as a late teen, early 20s, like, I just felt like I had matured, like I just had it all figured out.
Everyone did.
So my practical advice would be, don't assume that you have it figured out, because here's a fact for you. Do you know, like, the age that your brain stops developing?
It's like 26 or something. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like late 20s, mid to late 20s is what it says. I feel like there's also a male female factor there.
Yeah,
you and I
sure.
kind of talked about that, but
yes.
Because I think females mature, their brain finishes developing faster.
Not all the females I was around, but that's all right.
But anyways, that's just a fact. Like, your brain is still developing through your late teens, early 20s, all the way through mid to late 20s. Your brain isn't done developing. So you cannot assume that you have everything figured out. You aren't even grown yet in a lot of ways.
Okay. Yeah, it's true.
I'm speaking to my younger self. So that's one of them. Another one that's practical, save while you're single. I know everybody says, like, start saving early, but, like, I would also encapsulate that to, like, when you're single. It is so much easier to save when there isn't somebody else around, and especially when you don't have dependents.
What are you trying to say? The kids, yes, for sure.
Yeah, I guess even after maybe you're dating or married, it's still easier to save than, like, obviously.
Yeah, newsflash, kids are expensive.
Yeah, I know. This is an original thought, isn't it? And then going into my spiritual advice. Should I go through all mine, or should we swap back and forth?
No, you're already 2 in. Go for your last one.
Okay. So my spiritual advice is kind of 2 parts. One would be to listen for God, which I'm not even saying I did a bad job of trying to give him space to, like, I always tried to make a conscious effort that it wasn't just a one-way conversation. So I tried to listen. I feel like I did. And I, around that time, I had a lot more time on my hands to spend time listening for him. So I'm not even saying I did a bad job, but listen for God. And then the second part is be open to his call. And this is something that has just recently,
Give
I
an
feel
example.
occurred to me. So I've always, any big decision especially, tried to bring it to God and say, like, is this what you would have for me? Is this your will? And follow in whatever direction I feel tugged. But I think one of the things that is just occurring to me recently is, and it's because I've seen several people go on some kind of mission trip or something, and not even a trip, like a mission.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
Like going not just for a week or two, for a long time.
Like Mormon?
Well, yeah, actually, one of the Instagram accounts that I follow and enjoy is a family of Mormons. Her name is Abby Ayers, and so her parents, and then even her sister. It's like a big deal in the Mormon culture, religion, whatever you want to call it, to go and serve for like extended periods of time, which is just something that I feel like I've never.
It's
really
not our culture, but it's actually not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. And so between that and some other people that, were Christian going on just kind of longer, like I said, extended mission style ventures, it's made me reflect and be like, man, did I ever listen for that? Or do I try to narrow down what I'm choosing between, and then say, okay, out of these choices, God, what would you have me do? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I try to get it mostly figured out and before I bring it to him, rather
exactly,
than
right? Makes it easier.
rather than just really trying to be open to whatever he would have for me, wherever that might take me. So kind of like, I don't know, do I put God in a box, or am I really truly open to what he would have me do in my life? So that's that piece of advice.
Do you think you do that now? All right, so wait. So listen for God, be open to God.
Be open to his call.
What was your first one?
Oh, save while single, and then don't assume you have it all figured out.
So that's for your past self.
Yeah. I have one last one.
Oh, okay.
Don't cut me off.
I only have 3, so I thought you had 3.
Okay.
Actually, you have like 5 then.
Well, they all kind of blend together. So this is a phrase that my grandma's been saying for a while. She says, every season is a good season. It just keeps getting better and better.
Well, that's not true, is it?
No, I think it is. And
some are just harder to see.
Yeah. But the reason I say that is because I remember, again, I'm talking to like my late teen, early 20s self, and
okay.
I was wild. And I'm just honest here. I wasn't even wild for that long. It's just I had went through a phase. And
you went through a season?
Yeah, I had a little season.
It was a good season.
Well, but I just remember thinking like, well, this is, so many people say like these are the golden years, like,
yeah. What a joke.
Oh, I just wish I could go back to high school and relive it. It's the best years of your life, blah, blah, blah. And frankly, I disagree. But at the time, you're just thinking like, well, if I don't
get better than
it
this.
won't get better than this if I don't try all these things now, if I don't sow my wild oats now. I'm just never gonna have any of these fun memories and all this stuff.
And now look at you, you're still sowing wild oats.
No, it's like, yeah, in some ways, yeah, I still have a good time, but but I don't know. It's just like you just think like, well, I can't live thinking about, any regrets I might have. This is like my only shot at just having a really good time and doing all these things. And those, it's like I was doing it for the memories.
Right.
Thinking that I needed those memories.
And now you don't even like it when I look at your Facebook
No,
memories.
and so now those memories just make me cringe most of the time. Not to say there aren't some good ones, but they just make me cringe. Yeah, Brian, one of his favorite pastimes is to get on my phone every day and go to my Facebook memories and see what pops up.
I have to do it early before she deletes them.
Yeah. To see what song lyric I posted, in 2010 or something. And then he likes to come up and be like, what did you mean by this?
Yeah. Some of them are really good.
Yeah. But I will say, at least I still have my Facebook. You couldn't even stand my doing that, so you just deleted yours, I suppose. There's too much out there, huh?
I was hooked on Facebook, so I just got rid of it. But yes, it is a nice byproduct that none of that exists.
Okay, sidebar here, and I don't want to stay on this too long because I feel like we bring this up recently, like every other episode.
Okay.
But go with me here because I was thinking about this before we started. Would you tell your younger self to just completely avoid social media?
Oh, I didn't put that on there, but
Because I feel like once
no,
you
you'd have
are
been
on
an
it,
outcast if you weren't on it at all. Been like a
I don't
pariah.
know. I was thinking about that because once you're on it, you're kind of like hooked. You're like sucked in. You've got all these connections that now you're invested in keeping up with, and in a lot of ways that is good too. There's obviously some good sides of social media, but I just don't know that it outweighs. So I was just thinking earlier, I was like, would I tell myself to just avoid that?
See, ironically, I went a long time. I had Facebook. I never had Instagram until recently. I never had Twitter, and I only had
Yeah.
Twitter for a short amount of time. Like, I didn't have a lot of social media. I was on Facebook all the time. Now I just watch a bunch of reels on Instagram, but I don't have Twitter or any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, the girls, what's the? There's so many, like Pinterest and all these. Instagram, I felt like was
Yeah.
always a girl one for a while. If it wasn't for reels, I wouldn't even have Instagram now.
Yeah.
Which I probably just shouldn't have, and then I wouldn't have any of them. But back in its heyday, with like Facebook and stuff, it was fine. It's almost worse the older you get.
Yeah. So
Because you weren't on it all the time when you were young.
no.
Like, if you're talking to your past self, like, you updated your status when that used to be a thing. Like, that's the problem.
That's true.
Like,
It's just
what
grown
it used to
into
be
something.
used for, we didn't have pictures and all that stuff on there.
Yeah.
You just had statuses.
So, question: do you think that social media usage is going to like taper off?
I
pretty
don't know
quickly?
if young people use it,
I know that's kind of my question. Do you think that like
or what they use is not what we have. So,
Yeah.
I think inevitably it will.
interesting? Okay, let me go back and summarize this one. So, anyways, when you think you're needing to sow all these wild oats and do it for the memories, they'll just make you cringe later, most likely. So just
Yeah.
maybe rein that in. But really, the bigger point is that don't get caught up in this season of your late teens, early 20s being like the best years of your life, because I really don't believe that they are.
I hope not.
Right?
Right?
I know a lot of people say they'd go back and do high school over or college or whatever. I wouldn't go back for a large sum of money. I wouldn't go back and do it over. I'm happy where I'm at.
I'd do it if I knew what I knew now and
I
wouldn't
guess.
change the future, because it could be fun.
I guess. I don't know. But each season just, not that they aren't different, obviously, but they all offer something. Like you and I talk, like I get excited thinking about future seasons for us.
Yeah, that's true.
So each season holds its own, I don't know, good stuff. So just don't think that this is it. Okay. I think that's mine.
Okay.
All right, Brian, let's hear all your wisdom.
Yeah, I only have 3. Kind of, almost, I guess, like what your listener said. The first, I didn't really think of an age. I basically just said non-married, no kids. I would say 1, pursue hobbies. I didn't say just sports or anything, but it was once you're married with kids, because that's how I did this. So married with kids, not married.
Gotcha.
So you have time. You just have more time to do
Yeah.
stuff. So whether it's, obviously, I play music, I do play golf, I've played other sports, stuff like that, and you have a lot of time for any of that stuff that you want to do then. And now it's a heck of a lot harder to find time to do anything. For me, the biggest thing is, like, since I have such a strong foundation in music, I'm able to keep that going because I did it so much
Yeah.
without being married with kids, that I can push forward. But even with that, like, finding time to practice or
Yeah.
mess with new stuff is harder. So I was like, if you want to learn a new instrument, like you said, piano, or if you weren't playing golf, now's the time to start playing and try to get as good at that as you can, because you will not have time to play or do anything nearly as much as you'd want once you're
We
older.
will in the future.
No, yeah,
but
there'll
yes,
be
in
another
this
season,
current
but
season,
for right now.
yeah.
But see, like things like that is, if you, not that you can't always learn new things, but you're gonna kind of, you get pigeonholed in on what you do, what you know. So that was
Yeah.
my thing was, if you
Like
want,
try other
Exactly.
things.
Try new
Yeah.
things while you're younger, so that you have a foundation for
Yeah.
it, because it'll make it easier to.
Go back to.
Well, and
or
also
fit in.
easier, like I said, it's not like we don't have time to do anything ever. I'm playing golf this weekend, but you
Yeah.
just don't get to play as often.
Yeah.
So it's like the more time you use that on learning those new things, the easier it'll be, because it's also easier to, what I put with this is, once you have kids, like I try to incorporate them with music or sports and stuff like that, because that once you're or even you,
Well, that's
I
the-
got you
that,
golf clubs.
That's the beauty of this season is, having
Yeah, but it's a
somebody-
heck of a lot harder
is
to
hard,
be
yeah.
like, hey, let's take up tennis. Remember when we bought tennis rackets and I don't even think the plastic's off them, because neither
Yeah.
of us play tennis.
That was a swing and a miss by me. No pun intended.
Well, and it was a good idea. We have tennis rackets, but neither of us really play tennis. So
Did we go like one time maybe?
I don't even think we went. I think we maybe drove and it rained or something. I
Yeah.
don't think the wrapper's off of mine.
Yeah. They're up in the shop. We
I
could,
know.
we could bust
Yeah,
them out.
They're right above us. But had either of us
Yes.
played tennis before, maybe we would find time to go. 'Cause
Yeah.
we might take the kids. I'm not going to take the kids. Well, I don't even know how to play tennis.
While we try to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
I played it in junior high. I'm
Oh,
sure I
well.
could teach you a thing or two.
I've played before, not well. I've played on the Wii.
On the Wii. Oh man, I do remember playing. We haven't done that in a long time. Love the Wii.
Same
Okay,
with
carry
bowling.
on.
Number 2, I would say, this is my soapbox for this. Don't get caught up in college.
Yeah.
I-
Elaborate.
I think college is a scam. No, only halfway. But I think if I could do it all over again, and I say this all the time, I went to college. I'm not going to say I didn't learn anything. I definitely learned stuff. It was an
Yeah.
experience, and it's definitely helped me with my career. But I think, I don't know if this is going to change, but for our age group, it was like, you have to go to college.
Yeah.
And if you don't, something's
You're not
wrong
going to have
with you.
any kind of
Yeah, you're not going to
job options.
Yeah, you're not going to make any money. You're never going to amount to anything. And obviously, that's
And now
why.
here we are
Yeah,
paying
now-
off student loans still.
Exactly. And even without the student loans, it's just, if college was free, it's still just something that not everyone really needs to
Yeah.
go to. And especially
No, I
at
agree
the
with you
age.
that not that it's like worthless by any means. I do think that some people should go, but there's also some people that shouldn't.
Yeah.
And it was forced on us or not forced on us,
If
but
you look
pressed
at
on
it
us so hard.
economically, it's just the payoff's not there for a large portion of people that go. What you spend on it, it's
Mm-hmm.
not worth what you get out of it. And it's even worse now than it was. Things are so liberal in just the way they teach you that I just don't know that the juice is always worth the squeeze. So
what do you mean?
What?
What do you mean?
Like, if you're not learning things that are going to be paramount to what you're doing,
Oh, okay.
you're just spending money on it uselessly.
Yeah.
Like, they require you to take humanities and it's like you're in high school. You have to take
Yeah.
you need a PE credit.
Mm-hmm.
You need foreign language credit. Everything you needed to graduate high school, now you need to graduate college, which you have to pay for, whether you're going to use it or not.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think that's just a huge waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go to college, it should be, I mean, look, and maybe it'll change like this. You can't even, cable companies are going out of business because nobody wants to pay for channels they don't watch. Now
Yeah.
everyone wants to buy everything individually. Well, college should be the same. But maybe that's going to change. But I think about it for like our own kids. And it will connect with what I would have done if I could do it all over again. With our kids, if all 3 of them, 1 of them, none of them, if they want to go to college, I'm not one of these people that says you can't go.
Right.
But I do think, and maybe being male makes it a little bit different, but I don't think you should go to college straight out of high school, almost anybody, even if you think you have it all figured out. And the reason is you're spending a large amount of money, and say you want to be an engineer and a civil engineer, and you have no background in construction at all. You're shooting from the hip of like, well, I thought calculus was interesting in geometry, so I'm just going to go with that. And you may be a couple years in and say, ooh, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But I did like the accounting class I took. So my thought is no matter what, you should go for at least
Like a junior college.
well, or a trade school, or even just go get a job.
Yeah.
In whatever field. If you think you want to be a doctor, go try to get a job. Even if you're a custodian in a hospital, see if you like working in a hospital.
Yeah.
Or go to a junior college and get a nursing degree, because you'd start making money then. Because that's one thing. When you think about like when we were in college, like there were a lot of things that you could have experienced better if you had more money.
Yeah.
College would have been a heck of a lot better experience if you had more money. So I'm like, well, if you go in the workforce for a little bit, you'd have more money. You'd probably actually enjoy your college experience better.
Right.
I work in construction, so when I think about our own kids, my natural inclination is like, hey, go to trade school, become an electrician or a plumber or something, and you have that to fall back on, and you can work on that for a year or two, save some money, and then you could do it part-time while you go to school. But if they told me, like right now, I'll use the example, our oldest said he wants to be he didn't use these exact words, but he says he wants to be an aerospace engineer.
Yeah.
Is essentially what he's describing.
He says galaxy scientist.
Yeah. And look, if that's what he wants to do, I'm fine with that. And he can go to college for that. But he's going to do something else first and make sure. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what he could do to prepare himself for that, but we'll find something.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a drone pilot or something. I don't know. But to your point kind of about like brain maturity and stuff,
Yeah.
I just think, and I think it would just be helpful, like get in the workforce, figure out how the world works, and I think it
does give you a lot more perspective.
Yeah.
That, you can get to the end of college and still have zero perspective if you've done it.
Because that's what
that way.
happens.
Yeah.
So many people have a degree in something. I'm one of them that they don't even use. Whereas, like, had you tried out that field, like I work in construction. I didn't major in construction science. Maybe I would have if I went back. I don't know. Maybe, but if you worked in that field, it would give you a little bit more perspective. A lot of people get internships later in college, but you're already at that point. You're not going to change your major. You're just going to ride it out and try to get to the finish line so you can finish paying. I mean, even your undergrad, you don't use that. You went and got a master's for more of what you ended up using.
Yeah. I mean, I still
And
got
you
like a
flew
business.
through school.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah, you got like the basic. That's what I'm saying. Most people roll through. I got a basic comm business degree. And so it's like, well, that didn't exactly set me up for anything. It's more experiences you have. And I just think a lot of us fall into that trap.
Yeah.
So there's my soapbox on that. Don't go to college, kids. Or go later. Do you hey, I can
think what
piggyback
you're
it on yours.
saying-
You can go do your mission trip first and then go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what you're saying basically is college isn't the end all be all like it maybe was portrayed to us.
Well, and especially at the early age, I really, you could do whatever you want. I think for most of, everyone struggles like that first year. Almost everyone does. And you're 18.
Yeah.
You're not living at home anymore. It's just a huge culture shock. Even if you've got your head on your shoulders, most people at least struggle a little bit. I struggled mightily, but multiple times. So I'm the extreme case in this example, but I think most people would benefit from taking a little more time. Like, I would put it this way. I personally felt like, and I think you definitely did because you flew through college, of like, I got to hurry up and finish this so I can get in the workforce and start making money. Like, that's just, I need to get there. And I think part of that came from our generation was the first one. Like, a lot of people were having full-fledged careers by 18.
Yeah.
If your parents weren't, your grandparents definitely did.
Yeah.
And so for anyone graduating high school into college, it slowed everything down from marriage to kids to career, retirement. Everything got pushed back. And we were kind of caught in the middle, like, you got to hurry up and get through this. When in reality, like you said, your brain's not even done until you're 25, 26. It doesn't matter if you're in college when you're 22, 23, 24, something like that. If you have a better heading on what career you might want to do, it'd be better. And especially if you took the route I'm saying, then you might have a background. You might have a better job than being like a lifeguard or a waitress or something like that while you're in school. You might have something that benefits you better for your job to where you progress more quickly and get to a position you want to be in.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think a lot of people are finding now is they're going to school and they took a lot longer, especially if they got their master's or another degree. And then they're still at the end of the day, that experience is what helps you progress up the corporate ladder. And so I just think it would be something that would help people out. Soapbox done. So for the last one, I went with a religious one too.
Okay.
And I said, don't get caught up in the ways of the world. And what I mean by that is, a while back, we did I think of the Linton one, like where God ranks in your life. And I would say when I was younger, especially more college age, like God would have been way down the list because kind of to your point, you're so focused on like, oh, I got to do all these experiences and focus on this. And I definitely did all that too. And I think if I had been more centered on God and tried to do some of the things that we try to work on as a family now, maybe it would have saved some heartache and useless worrying, anxieties, all the things that probably crept up because that wasn't very important to me at the time.
Right.
And I think it's normal and natural when you're younger. It's like, I'll go back to God later.
No, I think
This
that's
is kind of
exactly
my
it.
time.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, well, I've got, the good
The
roots.
rest of my life for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my time to just learn about me and I think and do all these things that I don't want to tell God that I'm doing. Maybe I don't know, but I think it would have just saved probably maybe some of those Facebook memories that would pop up on mine if it still existed. I don't know. If God was more centered, then I think maybe some of those wouldn't exist, even though they don't now anymore anyways. That's all I got.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. You think we did okay?
I have no idea. I did what I did.
Yeah. This was a fun topic. So looking forward, like we said, we're going to take a little break here, come back in September when everybody's back to school and we have a little more structure in our lives.
So
maybe.
who knows?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't know how many of you are up to date. I'm not even up to date, so I doubt very many people are, and I haven't even listened to all these. So while we take the time off, you get caught up and you find at least one person, because they got time now. They can listen to all of them before we come back. Just one a day. We'll take 25 days off. But no, seriously, get one person to listen to at least one episode. And that way...
It's kind of one of the original premises of this podcast was to make some of these conversations, and some of them are really lighthearted and some of them are not.
So deep.
But make them something that people could share among friends or acquaintances or somebody you meet on the street. So that's kind of the idea. So yeah, I agree. That's a good point, Brian.
I see.
Share the podcast with somebody, and we'll be back in full force in September. There's something else I was going to say. I'm trying to think. Anything else from you?
No,
I know what I was going to say. I'll still be on the Instagram. I'll
yes.
probably be. That's one of the other reasons I wanted to take a break, is to get out in front of our calendar and booking topics and guests. So I'll still be on the Instagram, putting some of that content out there for y'all to weigh in on. So,
and if something jumps off that we just absolutely have to talk about, we'll do it.
yeah, we'll get on. So follow us at discuss_with us.
Yes. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the
Advice for your younger self.
Younger self episode, as we have unpacked our past.
Oh, Lord.
You go discuss yours.
And not ours.